Yo, the enemy's public, I gotta keep my eyes open. Pay attention, stop walking around like you blindfolded. This not the World Cup, but Nasir be kicking knowledge. This is the type of information you can never learn in college. It's time to fight back, it's no more trying to play it cool. We got interviews, podcasts, and got the latest news. So sit back and relax, we about to get it started. Earth is a canvas, and guess who's the con artist? They brainwashing us, the system corrupted. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. I said you are now rocking with the enemy's public. Hey.
This is the enemy's public, and I am Bro.Nasir. We are celebrating 50 years of a music genre that is near and dear to me. That's the culture of hip hop. I've gone over the history of hip hop several times, yet it's a part of hip hop that I didn't talk about, and that is the gatekeepers, ones who are on the label and ones who are extorting the artist. Now, we have a culture in hip hop that is detrimental to the culture. That's when artists are on tour and they go from city to city, and our own people extort our brothers and sisters. Peace to the realest McCoy. Peace to Anthony Lowe. Thank you, good brothers, for joining me. Now, I wonder, when Justin Bieber or Justin Timberlake, any of these, or even Machine Gun Kelly, I wonder, do any of them have to check in with the local gang member when they're in their city because they're on tour? That's something that I was pondering, because it seems as if Black artists have to check in with the local gang member, even if they're not affiliated, if they don't want harm to go to them or come to them. We talk about how wicked our enemy is when we serve to our own detriment. We are becoming our own enemy. I hate when people say we are our worst enemy, because we're not, but we are becoming. The way we treat each other is deplorable. Artists can't even travel and do their tour. They have what they call no-fly zones. But our enemy, the police, can come through and they get more respect than the brother who's an artist or the sister who's an artist. Police can come patting your pockets, not even identifying themselves. And that's allowed. But the young brother who is just on tour, some of these young brothers are not even affiliated with the gang, but they are affiliated with a gang for protection, because they don't want to be harmed while performing the music genre that they love, that's celebrating its 50th anniversary. Peace to my brother, Big Dog, Philly OG. And it's beyond sad of what hip hop has become in the first place. You know, It's unrecognizable. I don't even recognize it today. Except a chosen few. I don't even recognize hip hop. What I hear on the radio, I will not consider hip hop. And some of the pioneers co-sign the foolishness because they capitulated and they don't want to seem like they're hating, because back in the late 90s, people used to say, because you hold somebody accountable for what they do that's detrimental to themselves and others. It used to be player haters, because you was hating on a guy who he might have had all the chicks, or he may have had a lot of money, fancy clothes, nice car, good home and all that. And it used to be player hater. And now they have made it so that they could discourage you from calling people out. They just say hater. You can call a person out for selling drugs to our people, having our women on the stroll, doing all kind of stuff, and they'll say, you just hating. Or somebody could be outright whack as an artist. They have made it so we have to accept mediocrity. We have to accept mediocre, less than marginal talents. We have to accept today cats getting on the mic, actually mumbling, and we have to accept that as hip hop today. Because if we don't, we're hating, and not only that, it's forced on us. It's shoved down our ears, this so-called hip hop. Now, the BET Awards, this should have been their last show. This should have been a finale of the BET Awards. It has become buffoonery entertainment television. And if Tyler Perry buys it, probably going to turn into GET, if you know what I mean. But the celebration of hip hop, peace to Hurricane, peace to the brother Anthony Lowe. The celebration of hip hop on the BET Awards was a fiasco. They had the Sugar Hill Gang. I knew the Sugar Hill Gang when it was Master G, Big Bank Hank, and Wonder Mike. They had 4 or 5 people on the stage calling them the Sugar Hill Gang, because that's a group that Leland Robinson put together after his brother died, who was going around because the Sugar Hill Gang didn't want to perform because they wasn't being paid right, so they wasn't performing. The Robinson family of Sugar Hill Records owned the label, so the Sugar Hill Gang, their original members, had to go around calling themselves Rappers Delight, which is whack as fuck. But Joey Robinson, who I met before he died, when they was naming the street after his mother in Inglewood, New Jersey, he was going around saying that he was Master G. Everybody knows who was living in 1979. Everybody knows that Master G is Guy O'Brien. That's Master G. His name is Guy. But Joey, because Master G wasn't about the buffoonery, Joey performed as Master G. Now, Sugar Hill Records exploited our people also. Yes, they did. Sylvia Robinson, the mother of hip hop, was a singer, songwriter. She spearheaded hip hop as a um, mainstream genre of music with Rapper's Delight and the Sugar Hill Gang. She had Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. She had White Street Mob. She had Sequence. She had Treacherous 3. She had Funky 4+1. She had Spoonie G. She had artists. She even had Naughty by Nature, but the deal didn't work out. Guns was involved because Jersey cats don't play when it comes to their artistry and their money. It didn't work out. But somebody have to be the gatekeeper of hip hop on a positive level, keeping the genre of music consistent of what it was intended. But it seems as if we don't have that. So everybody who's an artist, everybody who's a pioneer are just capitulating to what the labels are calling hip hop. We let others come in and determine and define what our culture is. That's why I appreciate the song that Common did, I Used to Love Her. I appreciate that song even more today when he was expressing his love to hip hop. But I don't recognize hip hop. You know, when you know a person, how they look, how good that person looked, and if that person is unjust to themselves, they may be on drugs or, you know, experiencing alcoholism, and then you see them for the first time in a long time, and you're like, damn, what happened to you? That's exactly how I feel about hip hop today. Now, I'm going to give examples of the exploitation of artists. I'm going to show examples. Peace to my brother, Brown Flat Power God. Thanks for coming through. It's our people. We strive hard to be like those who we say that we despise because of their behavior. But our people behave the same way. A&Rs, when they was here, and black record label owners do the same thing to our people as the white ones do. So don't get it twisted. All of them are culture vultures. The black ones and the white executives are culture vultures. And anybody who signed a record deal with a label are foolish with all these streaming services. You're better off promoting yourself. You have so many ways of promoting yourself with social media. And just get with some alike minds and everybody promote each other like they're doing over at Talk Your Talk Media with the Bring Your Own Bars. Everybody promote each other. If you form a coalition, everybody promote each other. Everybody come up together. And that's the best way to do it, because these record labels are going to rape you. They've been raping our people with our genre of music, all of them, not just hip hop, for a long time. And if anybody did try to empower themselves, you know what happened to them. Artists will be killed for their catalogs. I ask people all the time, who won the East Coast, West Coast beef? Who won that beef? My answer is the record labels. Because Biggie never saw a dime of an album that sold over 16 million copies. Life After Death. He never saw a dime of that. because he was murdered 2 weeks before it came out. Tupac never saw a dime of Machiavelli. Never saw a dime of that. Because both of those brothers were murdered before the albums came out. These brothers would have been giants if they wasn't murdered. And Pac let us know that it wasn't the brothers. He said he would talk to Biggie. He said they can work it out. Biggie wasn't even feeding into that. The MTV interview that Pac had right before he passed away, before he was murdered, he said who it was behind pushing the East Coast, West Coast beef. The magazines, the record labels, and the media. Media. Multi-ethnic destruction in America. The media was pushing that beef. Cooking that bomb. And we lost one of the, at the time anyway, the biggest artist. But let me get into these videos and show these videos. And it's sickening. It is sickening how our people behave towards each other.
I ain't know that. I with all the little youngers out there. That's cool. But they're cool. Hey, well, they're cool. They ain't got to with me, but I ain't signing no permission slip nowhere. That ain't what I do.
Where there's money to be made, the underworld normally isn't far behind. Whether they're laundering through seemingly legitimate businesses or rubbing shoulders with politicians to favor their causes, the world of organized crime is everywhere. And when you consider just how profitable hip-hop is, it's no surprise that the underlying element of gang violence shows itself in the lives of artists. Commonly referred to as the Black Hand, the roots of extortion crime groups can be traced back as far as 1750s Naples. In those days, the local mafia would send a letter to businesses threatening violence or property damage.
Salute to my brother Drake Hobbs. Thanks for coming through, brother.
As the mafia made their way to America, extortion took hold in the inner cities, with Chicago, New York, and Philly experiencing regular shakedowns that scared anyone who didn't comply. Unsurprisingly, these mafia methods were taken on by other street organizations, and now extortion is as much a part of hip-hop than ever before. At this point, any street rapper will know that checking in is part of the job. This is essentially a sign of respect that makes sure an artist can move through the city without fears of being punked.
They should be able to move through the city because that's your brother. And he's a successful artist who put out good music. That's why he or she should be able to move throughout the city. They shouldn't have to call a gang member to be safe in the city. And these people do the same thing that the mob do, paying for protection just because they come to a damn city.
Punked or murdered. At its core, this practice is mutually beneficial, with the rapper getting a free hood pass, all while investing money into the city by paying a fee to them through security or allowing an up-and-coming artist.
That's what they do. Now, when Chris Brown first came out, he was clean. And now he's all a tough guy now, tattoos all over his face because he has gang affiliation out of fear that something will happen to him because he's in a gang member's city. See, I don't understand how when you have that much money like these brothers have, you don't just bond yourself. Just bond yourself, get yourself a firearm and a license to carry. Cat run up on you, give them everything in that.
To open for them at their show. Though it might seem unjust, it's better than the alternative. So now that we're caught up to speed, let's take a look at some of the most infamous incidents where rappers were extorted. While he's a successful billionaire today, even Kanye West wasn't safe from extortion. During a trip to Philadelphia, Ye, who was regarded as more of a suburban rapper than a thug, had to call up the Broad Street bully, Beanie Siegel, to help him get out of a tough spot.
He felt threatened. Nothing was going to happen to him. Not while I was there. They had chairs pulled up to his table where he was eating.
Not for nothing. To me, my sentiment is that this is what you call hating. Not because, you know, you're holding somebody accountable. You're hating on the brother because the brother has something that you don't have. It's self-hate. Why do our people dislike seeing our people successful? We're supposed to be proud to see a brother or sister successful. I was proud when Floyd Mayweather fought for the championship back in the 90s because he was from my area. I was proud when Jaheim album dropped because we grew up in the same projects. I told him the last time I seen him, I don't expect nothing from you, brother, but good music. Keep that coming. But cats get jealous and they get mad because they see a brother or sister successful in what they do.
Eating that with his friends, and they wasn't eating. And it was real. They played, the food was cold. It was just like a weight off. Like, hurry up, and when you come out of here, it's going down. So when I got to ask Kanye, yo, do you know this guy right here? It was like, nah. Kanye had his jewelry tucked in on. Take your chain out. That was like a badge, that Rockefeller chain. We was the family. So taking from him at that time was like taking from me.
And where Beanie was able to help Ye navigate out of trouble without any harm, other artists haven't always escaped their reputation or possessions intact. Out of all the places where checking in is practiced, nowhere moves with more organization than Detroit. Headed up by Trick Trick, the Motor City is operated as a no-fly zone. And as he explained to Norion,
a no-fly zone. This is our culture. In hip hop, we have no-fly zones in cities where people tour. This is outright self-hate.
on Drink Champs, it's used to make sure the city and its people get their due respect.
Dan, what is the no-fly zone?
It was for record labels.
Okay.
When record labels used to have like street teams, and that was back in the A&R days. They would have a promo team, take the artists to different locations, and it was like they were just coming to Detroit and wasn't picking up nothing. They would charge the local artists to perform. When it kept happening with the little homies and they was just doing it because they got money, like, you know, that, man. Stop everything. Wow. And the only entertainment around this gonna be what's here. And if anybody violated, we'll deal with that accordingly.
Right. Out of everyone who's faced the impact of this, no one had their ticket denied as publicly as Rick Ross. Set to headline a Summer Jam event in the city, Rosé's bag was stopped by the local guardians who enforced the no-fly zone. Did you know that on average, there are around 5 million car accidents every year in the U.S., and a lot of those accidents...
We'll pass this ad.
Thousands of case staff. That means you don't just
put an ad right in the middle of the video.
Nod it off in the driver's seat.
And I have premium, but they put their ad on anyway.
Let's get back to the video.
We have Rick Ross right outside here tonight. When he was pulling up to come into Shane Park, he was met by 100 individuals outside. We have tried to pull every resource together and ask him to come back. He is in fear of his life, and he may never come back to Detroit.
While Rose,
but they will call an artist a punk if he hire bodyguards. But he can't go into a city without being threatened or without being extorted for money. See, me, I don't understand. If you got a homeboy with his record clean, arm that joker. Arm him. And let him be your shooter legally. People have the money to do that, but they don't protect themselves. Like the young brother that was killed in the Waffle House. That young brother only wanted to live a better life. He rapped. He had his girl with him. He got his jewelry on. He wanted some damn waffles. Somebody walked up in there, murdered the brother, and took what he had. Killed him. No impunity.
Rosé's situation has lived on in infamy. He wasn't the only artist to fall in Trick Trick's territory. One notable example of a rapper being caught on camera snubbing extorters is DaBaby. During a video shoot for his single, 21, in East Atlanta, the North Carolina native was confronted by a local gang who set out to intimidate him for trespassing.
Hey, if you wanted to come politic, you could have came in politics. He could have just came in politics. You know, that was real. Dude, I ain't no Pee-wee though. So it don't go like that. It gotta be respect. I would have got the utmost respect. Just don't do it like that.
Peace to my brother Keno for peace and power. Peace and power.
I don't do that, big homie. You could have came and chopped it.
An incident where he dealt with this surprisingly well, DaBaby has since admitted that it could have went badly, but not necessarily for him.
The guy was on their side. It worked out perfect for him. Everybody else was doing it, was there to do a job. They were scared as fuck.
Where DaBaby responded with anger, others have said that extortion is not always something to stay away from, as it can make your life much easier. In Joe Budden's opinion, checking in was always a failsafe, with the rapper turned podcaster explaining that it's a necessary evil.
This is how I explain it. State taxes. Checking in is state taxes. I don't live in LA, but I've done work in LA. And at the end of the year, LA sends a note to my house that tells me how much money I owe them. That's the government. The street people that are powerful enough to control movement in their town, i.e. Big U, Trick Trick, whoever these names are. All of y'all artists come to these cities and take, and make money all year long without giving back. So to avoid the streets getting it from you how they want to get it from you, I'll fix all that. But there's a fee attached. That's how I view it. I didn't grow up with you. I don't know you.
That is a bunch of nonsense. Joe Budden, he's as intelligent as a damn button saying that bullshit. Because somebody come again, do they do that to Justin Bieber? Do they do that to Justin Timberlake or any white artist that come through there? If Bruce Springsteen was doing a tour and he was coming through your city, nobody tells him he has to check in. No white artists have to check in. None of them. But a brother got to check in. If he don't, he get harmed. That's some self-hate. That's some buffoonery. That's some bullshit.
I don't know none of them. I don't really care about your well-being, but you're going to pay. All right, he's good for these 3 days that he's here. Yeah.
Another artist who's made his peace with extortion is none other than Vanilla Ice. Grossing more revenue than most hip-hop artists see in their entire careers, Vanilla Ice was so successful that he unwillingly went on to fund one of the biggest labels in hip-hop history. Not exactly.
Suge Knight was just being a damn bully, and that's why he's where he's at now. That's exactly why he's where he's at now. He was just being a bully. Vanilla Ice should have got him a firearm, and when those cats ran up on him threatening his life for his money, something he worked for, his music's whack. But he sold records and he worked for it. He didn't take it from nobody. And he shouldn't have capitulated. He should have just protected himself.
Exactly known for his tactful business operations, Suge Knight knew that when it was time to find funding to start up Death Row Records, who better to raise funds from than one of the industry's richest industry plants who was now living it up in LA. And although the claims that he was dangled over a balcony by Suge and Death Row goons has been blown out of proportion, Vanilla Ice viewed the shakedown in a more positive way.
You know, he took that money, and I look at it in a positive way. With me, people think I'm bitter about it. To me, I look at it in a positive way, saying, you know what? That money went on to start Death Row Records.
Nah, you scared. You know what to say and what not to say, dude. You know what to say and what not to say.
Money funded some of the greatest hip-hop music of our time. The Chronic record, funded by Vanilla Ice. Nobody ever thought about that. How about Snoop Dogg, funded by Vanilla Ice? How about Tupac, funded by Vanilla Ice? I may not have had a good return on my money on that one, but listen to me. It went on to do something good in the hip-hop community, man. All right.
When we're talking about extortion in hip-hop, it's impossible not to mention Houston's Jay Prince. Often seen as hip-hop's overarching kingpin who uses intimidation to end potential conflicts before they even get off the ground, the Rap-A-Lot Records CEO is almost universally respected. But with that said, everyone slips up sometimes, and his attempts to move in silence have been violated. Even though he appeared to be charitably returning NBA YoungBoy's possessions to him after a robbery, many people suggested that it was an outright attempt to extort a rapper who refused to pay their respects to him.
The little homie YoungBoy place got broke into, I got a call about it. And the little homies that went into this place want to make that right. I got your keys to your Rolls Royce. I got your keys to your McLaren. You know, all that they took. All good. Waiting on you.
In classically bold fashion from the Baton Rouge rapper, Youngboy wouldn't bend to the pressure, responding with a fiery message of his own.
Now, I must say that Suge Knight, Jay Prince, Dame Dash, Irv Gotti, I think it was Master P, they were going to start a distribution center distributing music and doing movies. Jay, he went to Leo Cohen and snitched on him. All their offices were raided, and that was the end of that, freeing themselves from the quote unquote boule of hip hop, the gatekeepers of hip hop, the exploiters of our people, and the bloodsuckers of the culture, which is the record labels.
I don't want no friends. I don't want no new relationships. If you got something for me, man, they got plenty around me you could call. You don't get on no internet and do nothing.
Now I'm going to go to another video.
I'm good on the keys.
Dealing with
when you buy cash,
the music
two
industry.
keys come with the car anyway.
Dealing with the labels.
Business, man.
Where Youngboy escaped unscathed.
Now this is about the
Sir, but you're tuned into the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast.
Music industry in the private prison.
And if you're enjoying the content thus far, don't forget to leave a comment down there. And also, you can hit the 5-star rating as well to show us your appreciation, how much you love the podcast. Now, we were talking about private prisons, and we were talking about, you know, the influx of Latinos and Blacks in the prisons right now. And we always get into these type of topics here. And
back in 1989, 1990, the prison industrial complex and record labels had a meeting. Why they had a meeting? Why the prison industrial complex and the record labels had a meeting? You see the results today in hip hop.
Yeah, I'm tied in with hip hop. But Sam Ant, you know, he dug up a video that a young brother from the Bay Area was going in on it.
Brother Hurricane, The Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop is a very good book. I have a copy of that book. Very good read, and also How Puff Burnt the Bad Boys of Hip Hop, Dancing with the Devil. That's another good book that's written by Mark Curry, who used to be on Bad Boys. He did a book called Dancing with the Devil, How Puff Burnt the Bad Boys of Hip Hop.
Brought some facts that we want to bring to the people and talk about today.
Salute to this young brother who did his thing right here. I'm sorry, real quick, I'll drop that off. That he really gave us some schooling on what's going on out here. I'm gonna try to find his name, but I don't see anything anywhere. But we're gonna talk about what he said, like Oga said.
Ever wonder why you see the same stereotypes of Black and brown people depicted in hip hop music? What if I told you that some of the biggest music companies are in cahoots with private prison owners? And that the rap music we listen to is not only meant to entertain, but to verbally and visually support criminal behaviors that funnel disenfranchised people into these private prisons. Lastly, what if I told you I have proof? In 2012, Core Civic, formerly known as Corrections Corporation of America, the biggest name in the private prison industry, contacted 48 states offering to buy their prisons. One requirement of eligibility for the deal was particularly strange: an assurance by the agency partner that the agency has sufficient inmate population to maintain a minimum 90% occupancy rate over the term of the contract. Wait, dragging? What? What kind of legal and ethical measures could be taken to ensure the maintenance of a 90% prison occupancy rate? Now let's work together to connect these.
Because a prison is nothing but an abandoned building if there's no prisoners in that building. You can't suffice with the contracts because everybody in the prison is under contract. And states get paid tens of thousands of dollars per prisoner. So nobody wants to build a warehouse, put cameras in it, put cells in it to have zero occupancy in it building. They want people in that building. And that's why crimes are set up according to what the correction officers and the police officers in that municipality necessities are. The actual penalties are set up according to what they need, their necessities. 3 to 5 for a gun, 3 to 5 to pay for a car. Just understand that. 10 years for vehicle homicide, driving drunk and stuff like that. 10 years to pay off those student loans. 25 to life for murder, for manslaughter. 25, 30 years to pay off a house. So it's set up that way, according to the necessities of the correction officers and the police officers. And they have certain towns where everybody in the town work in the jail system. So when you're driving through that town, you're not from that town or that state, they'll pull you over just to get your money.
Peace stains. So to show you're a smart person, it won't be long. Let's do the work. In 2012, a mere 232 media executives were responsible for the intake of 277 million Americans, controlling all avenues necessary to manufacture any celebrity and spark any trend. Time Warner, as the owner of Warner Brothers Records, can not only sign an artist, but since they're also owners of Entertainment Weekly, they can also put an artist on the cover by next week.
My brother, Hurricane, the reason why the private prisons were suing the state, because the state had a contract with the private prison and they made a deal of the occupancy in the prisons. They didn't make the numbers, so that's why they're suing. I don't know how successful they're going to be, but that's why they're suing, good brother.
You think you choose what you listen to, but do you? Both BET and MTV belong to Viacom. Okay, now I know that's not news to some, but when the use of these media conglomerates is cross-checked with ownership of the biggest names in prison privatization, it's starting to get a little fishy. The largest holder in CoreCivic, formerly Corrections Corp of America, is Vanguard Group Incorporated. Vanguard is the #1 largest holder in both Viacom and Time Warner.
Wow.
Vanguard is also the largest holder in the GEO Group, the second largest owner of private prisons in the U.S. The overlap in private prison / mass media ownership is disturbing. Let's make this clear. The people who own the media are the same people who own private prisons.
That's why I said multi-ethnic destruction in America. Media.
Exact same people. They make money from getting so-and-so from the hood to glorify the life they live. And they don't care about the impact it has on others because money is the motive. Then when the music influences others in criminal behavior, they make money from all the impressionable low-income people of color that are expected to go inside their private prisons. You can research these companies yourself, by the way, it's not hidden. Now, if you want to take action and stop motivated racist schemes like this from happening, we need to create a platform where the real culture of hip-hop can flourish. Hip Hop for Change has employed hundreds of people with jobs that further hip-hop activism in the Bay Area and are ready for expansion. They teach K-12 workshops that get children rapping, breaking, DJing, and doing graffiti as a means of positive, healthy self-expression. Amazingly, half of the 20,000 youth they've taught were for free. They don't turn down kids. They produce social justice events and support local artists who don't fit the corporate narrative. You can even listen to them every Sunday on Hip Hop for Change Radio on 89.5 KPOO San Francisco. They're using hip-hop to advocate social justice and raise funds for causes that enrich the lives of historically oppressed communities. They want to create a platform where the community can access the authentic culture of hip-hop. Don't only share the video, but make a difference and reach out to them. If you're in the Bay Area and you need a job, it got you. If you don't want to be on the front line with them, then you can donate here. That donation is essential to keep their movement going. So help them take the game back and empower the community with the real culture of hip hop that is rooted in peace, love, unity, and having fun. Donate today on their website and visit them at hiphopforchange.org.
Oh, God, that brother said a mouthful. hiphopforchange.org is the website. Salute for the information. And pertaining to the private prisons and the music industry, man, that's something that I think we can really dive in on. What was your thoughts on that, bro?
I think there's some truth, to that, to a lot of those claims there. And we always talked about that here on the podcast, saying if that will be the case, let's just say if that's the case, if the media companies, had stake in the private prisons, then you say, okay, maybe that's not a bad thing. But then you look at, okay, what are the media companies producing? You know what I mean? He's talking about BET, MTV, which I'm not too fond of any of those particular outlets, at this point. But when you talk about the labels, what we could go to, and we even seen Leo Cohen, come out and say, on the Breakfast Club, the stuff that he said, and it would prove that what this young brother is saying, what his research is correct, in my opinion. But I'm gonna take this stance on it though, because I feel like now that we know, what are we going to do about it? All right, this is what we know now. So something, it's like, all right, the people, the army's coming, the Calgary's coming into town. Okay, so how do we stop them? So, we got to stand up though. Now that we know this, now you're going to have some people who are going to be victim to this. Absolutely. But now that we know, what are we going to do? So, but I definitely believe it, man. It could definitely be some truth to this though. I don't put that past it at all.
Nah, and it makes sense when you look at private prisons and the capital that comes from private prisons and who's sitting up in private prisons right now and how it correlates to a lot of the hip hop that we hear. And you look at a lot of the artists that are sitting behind bars in trouble for hip hop. NBA Youngboy just got out of prison, or just got out of jail. I don't know if he was in prison, but he's on house arrest right now. Just dropped the album today. Salute to him. Kodak Black's currently sitting behind bars. TK47 is currently sitting, not TK. TK47 is currently sitting behind bars. Who else is there?
Now I'm going to play a video. It's dated, probably about 30 years. But the aforementioned brother was trying to tell us years ago, 1990, he was trying to tell us about the industry and what the industry do to the artists. Here we are with Pawns in the Game by Professor Griff.
Y'all and all better get right. Listen to me. Listen. I don't want no applause. I want you to hear what I have to say. This is the situation. I'll make you understand my place in this world and how I'm living as a black man, striving to be somebody that can be respected. Hold on, it's over. We're gonna get because I'm elected by the G, the O, the D. It's like Omar R. when I swing. Will you understand? It's critical. I know the subject is deep, but 434 years I can't repeat it. I teach you of the global plan designed and hatched by the man with the mark in his head, with the mark in his hand. Now to the man on the board who has very little meaning, no hate involved. Now it's time for some redeeming. Now making it up, but you have to use your brain. Think about it. We're like pawns in the game. What we're gonna do right here is go. I understand the games and the tricks. 360 degrees, it's a circle of 10%, baby. I'll beg them, correct them. Then I'll leave them speechless, caressing his ego. Then I'll teach them this lesson to the so-called Negroes, the chosen people that needs to grow up to a free level of independence. We're limited what it's all about. To make it clear, to be a prime example, that you erase the fear. Who put it in our hearts? I don't mind, but I want no part of your total destruction. Be it known, let's continue this function. While I'm in my prime, I'm letting you all know that it's about time. I understand the games and the tricks. That beat, right? Bring that beat back. One is a piece and a piece is controlled, but Exodus 21 verse 16 is free as you see. Now you know what I mean. Now you can take this or let it alone. The total solution is not in this your soul, but now it's too late. You don't seal your fate because the UPC is revealed. There's no escape. Revolution sweeping the entire nation over and over and over. And guess what?
Game's over. Checkmate.
Now we're going to go to Professor Griff. It's bigger than hip hop, beats, and rhymes. I'm going to play some of this because he's doing a breakdown of the industry.
I'd like to introduce you to Professor Griff on behalf of the Office of Multicultural Affairs for this event for Black History Month. My name is Carla Javi. Today we have speaking for us Professor Griff, who's an internationally renowned educator, writer, producer, musician, platinum record and spoken word artist, lecturer, and founding member of the pioneering and revolutionary hip hop group Public Enemy. Armed with an exemplary life of service and
Let's give her a round of applause for that introduction. Carla, right? Okay. How's everyone doing? All right, y'all can do a little bit better than that. All right, hold on. Okay. I told a few people that I would be here at East Tennessee State, and I told them I was coming to Johnson City. Is that correct? So, you know, some people was just like, where? So, but I'm glad to be here. So, thank you very much for the invitation. By show of hands, how many people have actually went through the museum and checked out the exhibit there? It's beautiful. So during the Q&A, I'd like to ask you some questions about what y'all thought. Is that cool? Is that all right with everyone? I'm hearing like 2 people. Is that cool? All right. I have to personally thank the faculty and the staff being so warm and hospitable. It's not like I get tension everywhere I go, but being Professor Griff, there's just a little bit of turbulence. I'm sure you'll understand that. But I want to thank Khalid El Hakim for inviting me in to be a part of his life work. Let's give him a round of applause. I think when I was invited in, it's been now 5 years. He's been collecting for 20 years. And when I was invited in, I didn't see it as though I was hooking up with someone to kind of travel around the country in rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes just to, you know, just for the sake of traveling. Part of what he is doing, or what I'm doing with him, is actually part of, you know, my life work. I'm not just saying that to fill up space in my introduction. You know, I truly mean that. When I was invited in, we had, you know, a few talks, and we basically came to the conclusion that since young people will not go to the museum, we'll bring the museum to young people. I don't know if you know the history of how he put it together. It was young people in the community that got together that gutted out a trailer that actually painted and hammered nails and fixed it up to the point where he hooks it up to the back of his car or to a truck, and we were bringing it to the campuses. How many people knew that? So this is a labor of love. And not to mention that, I think if we had no college campus or no high school to bring it to, we'd probably have to set it up on a street corner. Am I right or wrong? Because it's about raising the conscious level of the human family. The valuable pieces that he's labored so hard to collect. Now, I'm gonna tell you, it's very difficult. You may see, how many pieces you have out? 200 pieces out of 1,500 pieces. Every piece was a labor, meaning that he had to find it. It's not gonna come to you. I'm talking about some of the backwoods places in butt scratch Louisiana we had to go in somebody's basement to find some. You ever see the movie Silence of the Lambs? Well, some of them places we had to go to find some of the pieces. So if nothing else, we just need to at least, look at every piece and just use that as parts and pieces to a puzzle that have yet been untold. But the key is you have to finish telling the story. Are you following me? You following me? Okay, I think it was Frantz Fanon who said, out of relative obscurity, each generation must discover its mission, fulfill it or betray it. And it's truly up to you. What you have to do is use what Khaled is presenting today as a point of reference. We may walk through and spend 2 or 3 minutes and look at the things as though it's entertainment. Not the case. I think Malcolm said, history is most attractive and rewards all of our research. So if we know what was, we know what is, and we know what's to come. And we need these parts of our particular history to kind of fill in the blanks, because I don't know about you guys, I didn't get it in high school. How many of you got it in high school? Not too many. All right. So with that as a backdrop, I think we owe one more round of applause to Khaled El Hakim. Let's give him another well-deserved round of applause. Yeah, I was there at the conference when y'all met. I don't know where I was when y'all kind of hooked up to come to, where was I at, man? Oh, okay. But it's always a good thing to know that the conference actually works this time. I mean, because I've been going to conference for 5 years with you. And a lot of times when you're not invited, you don't think the process worked. But this is, today we can honestly say that the process worked. Someone is actually looking out for your health and your welfare and your extended education, even when you're not, even when you're struggling through classes that you probably are trying to get through. Someone is out there at the conferences looking to further your education outside of these four walls. So once again, thank you all very much for having me. So I think at this point, I think I need to do a disclaimer. Not that we're going to get into anything kind of controversial, but we might. I'm going to talk about the exhibit. I'm going to talk about Black history. I'm going to talk about history from a hip hop perspective on what it means to us in 2011. But I think a little bit later on in the lecture, when we dive into hip hop, I think we need to get a basic fundamental working definition of what hip hop is before we go into it. Now, if I ask by a show of hands to ask you to define hip hop, to me, being 50 years old, coming through the golden era of hip hop, we'd probably come up with about 4 or 5 different definitions. Am I right or wrong? Okay. Just as a taste test, let me just throw this out there. Who knows the 5th element of hip hop? Was that you scratching your head or you just, okay, you counting? He's just counting, okay. Anyone? See, now you're about to make my job very difficult, because now I got to explain the 4 fundamental elements of hip hop, synthesize it with this 5th element, marry that on to Black history, and bring it up to date in 2011, and that's kind of difficult. So I'm gonna need your help. Is that cool? Is that all right with everyone? All right, cool. So what I think I'm going to do is just kind of basically read some quotes to see if we can just kind of set the tone. I'm going to deal with some theory. It may sound like conspiracy theory to some of you guys, but if you're actually living it and it's happening right before your eyes, I would tend to believe that it's not only conspiracy, simply meaning someone conspired and got together to bring about a certain result. But when I started to see these things in hip hop, it started to trouble me. When I started pointing out the organizations that was responsible for dumbing down the music industry, for dumbing down hip hop, I started to point them out. Normally, I would have my DVDs laid out on the table, and in essence, thank you. In essence, this is how it went down. My DVDs would be on the table. Young people would get them, go chop them up, put them up on YouTube, and I would end up getting 100,000 phone calls in a month, which is very critical. Surprisingly enough, one or two of the lectures that I've done had my phone number, and somebody put it on the internet. So can you imagine my phone number going out on World Star and end up getting 750,000 hits? So now that 200 clips are up on YouTube, can you imagine the phone calls that I get? Now listen, I don't mind. It's just that I do mind the 3:30 calls in the morning, breathing hard on the phone, threatening me. That kind of stuff I do mind. Are you following me? So, all right, one last thing. Is there anyone
Peace
in
to
the
my
audience
brother,
working
Drake
for the
Cobb.
government? As
Thanks for
agents?
coming up, brother.
You working for the government?
Salute, salute, salute.
Cool, you safe. Anyone else?
Loud and clear, brother.
No, that's where you headed? We need to talk to you a little bit later on then. We need someone on the inside.
You want to tap in, brother? Just tell me to pause.
She's looking at me like, yeah, right. All right, let me pull this back up so we can kind of get started. I'm not going to be able to go over every slide.
Yeah, give me about 5 minutes. I want to say something.
Lecture that I was doing in
You want to tap in now?
Give me about 5 minutes, and I'm gonna tap right back in.
Okay, good, brother.
In Kentucky, and I was preparing it for 2 other lectures, which a few of them have gotten canceled. So y'all don't mind if I just kind of run through some things real quick. All right, just by a show of hands, how many people actively participate in this thing that was given to us by Carter G. Woodson as Black History Month, which started out as Negro History Week? Okay, let's just set the ground rules. This don't count. All right, so if you're gonna raise your hand, raise your hand. Okay, so everyone else with your hand not up, you just kind of, the little 28 days that they give us just kind of gets by you. Do you need some instructions, kind of like a map, road map, so a lesson plan? The people that had their hand up, I think it's our duty and our responsibility that each one should teach 3. If everyone that had their hand up did so, then everyone would be able to participate in a month that our people have sacrificed, at least for the 28 days that we get. Are you following me? And even if it's the coldest month of the year, we should take it.
Yes, brother.
Yeah, peace, fam.
Peace, family. How you doing?
Chilling, man. I wanted to tap in on that check-in thing you was playing, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, me and some of the guys at work, we was just talking about this checking in shit. So they know I rap and shit, and they was asking me, yeah, so if you go do a show in LA and woo, man, I was telling them, bro, I'm not checking in with none of them clowns. I should be able to move freely anywhere.
Exactly.
Anywhere, bro.
I
agree. Who are they to tell me that I gotta pay some bread to go do a show to them? Like, I don't even know you.
Exactly.
It's bullshit what we do to our own people, bro. It's straight sickening, bro.
Sickening. Brother, back in the 90s and early 2000s, I used to protect hip-hop artists, R&B artists. I used to protect them. And we wasn't having that, bro. We had a strong team, and we didn't leave our artists, our clients, nowhere. And when we told our instructions, when we in our criteria was, when we say let's go, because we're responsible for your safety. So when I say let's go, move it, because I don't want nothing to happen to nobody that I'm protecting. I had a strong team, and we protected some of the biggest artists out there back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So, all that checking in, they don't make nobody else check in, only us, only their own, brother.
That's bro.
More sickening.
Man, that's and I was telling them, I was like, do they make Jack Harlow check in? Do they make G-Eazy check in? They ain't making none of these other motherfuckers check in. But any brother that wants to come there to check in with them, man, I'm not checking in with none of them clowns. I'm a high security. They're gonna have to holler at them. Period.
Exactly. That's the best way to handle that. Higher security. Now, if you got a problem, holler at them.
Man, it just blows my mind. And we was talking about the Steven Jackson when he went to go check in with some shorties. It's like, bro, who are you checking in with some 15-year-olds?
Yeah, that's
come on, man. This whole check-in shit is bullshit, and we need to stop this shit. We gotta stop that, bro. That ain't our culture. Our culture ain't to be motherfucking trying to extort our artists, bro. That's bullshit, man.
Exactly. This is what our culture have become because of the practice of others, and they just adapt the practice and they exploit their own people. We can't talk about what the white man do this or the white man do that when we do it to ourselves. We do the same thing, bro. We do this. We become what we despise by handling each other like that.
Man, bro, that is the goofiest shit I ever heard. I don't even know you clowns. You talking about I gotta check in with you and pay this and pay that. I'm not checking in with nobody. I move freely where I go, bro. Period.
You supposed to. You go do your show, get your bread, and be gone. That's it. If you want to stay a few nights, you want to enjoy the festivities elsewhere, you're supposed to be able to do that.
Big fact, especially amongst our own people, bro. We talking about our own people, bro. It's just sad, bro. You mean to tell me I gotta check in, but Jack Harlow can move freely around anywhere? No, fam. No, sir.
If Bruce Springsteen came to Detroit, or any of those rock and roll artists came to Detroit, they're not checking in with nobody.
Big facts.
They go in the Ford Theater, do their show, and be done. And nobody going to walk up on them. But the brothers got to check in with the local gang member, the gang boss, because he's in Detroit. Or if he's out eating, somebody going to run up on him. That's sickening, bro.
It is sickening. I'm not a gang member. Why do I got to talk to another gang? I don't gang bang, Sam. Why am I even talking to you, bro? And if Trick ain't checking Bruce Springsteen, why the fuck is Trick coming to me talking about I got to check in?
Exactly.
That's bullshit, man.
Exactly. Because he know if you know what it is, brother. A lot of our brothers, they'll affiliate themselves out of fear. And hip hop has this culture. I don't know where it came from, because back when I was growing up, the brothers bragged about how smart they was. Now the dumbest nigga is the man today. He's the man today, and we didn't affiliate ourselves with any type of negativity. It was the elements, peace, love. You know what I'm saying? Having fun.
Yes, sir.
That's what hip hop was about when I was growing up. But now it's all about keeping it real. REEL, not REAL. Keeping it real.
Right.
All for the damn a facade. They're not keeping it real, because most of them cats are not what they say they are. Because once they're in that jail, they start bitching. When all you gotta do is be yourself. Look, I'm not a gang member. You run up on me, I'm pressing charges. Be yourself. Which is the reason why they won't run up on Bruce Springsteen. They'll never see outside of jail again. If they run up on any of those white artists, they'll never see outside of jail again. And they'll tell them straight up, I'm not paying you nothing. Paying you no mind. Talk to this 6'7", 300-pound man with a gun. Talk to him. You want something from me?
That's a fact, bro. I just don't understand where this check-in shit come from, bro. It's bullshit. I shouldn't have to check in with no Big U or anybody. No White 100, any of these clowns, bro. I don't know none of you brothers. What the fuck I gotta check in with you for? It should be all love wherever we go. Period.
As far as I'm concerned, brother, if I heard you was coming to my city, it wouldn't be no money involved unless you wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, look, bro, I got you. Like when Professor Griff came, I was like, look, bro, you got a team here, bro. You got brothers here waiting for you that got you. That's how I roll.
And that's how it's supposed to be, bro.
All because it's a brother that we proud of and we like his music. Now we're gonna make sure he get in and out of here safe because we want him to come back for one.
Yes, sir.
But if a brother is harmed, he's not gonna come back here. He don't want to come back here because the city's whack and they on that nonsense. But checking in, the young brother died at the Waffle House for not checking in.
That's crazy, bro. Should nobody have to lose their life, bro, for checking in with some goofy minds. I'm not checking in with none of you goofies, boy. Y'all goofy to me. I'm not doing that. That's sad, bro.
You saw that footage of the brother, the brother that was talking to the youngins. They was telling him he needed a permission slip. You know how goofy that shit is,
man, bro.
A permission slip to be in a city that he's filming his video in. Bro, they tried that. They tried that in my city with Jaheim, bro. And
wow.
He stood his ground too. He stood his ground. They interrupted a video he was filming in the projects he grew up in. And they did him like that, bro.
Sad shit, man. Our people, man, we our own worst enemy, bro. Ain't no fucking way. If man, we all supposed to be family around this motherfucker. Ain't no way I'm supposed to be checking in with nobody. I should be good wherever I go, and I should have the young brothers around there protecting me wherever I go. If I come to your city, period.
All I would want to do is for you to call me and let me know you're here so I can make sure you're okay. It's not no exploitation. You gotta pay me for protection. Nah, bro. I want to assure your safety.
Big facts.
Sincerely, not for no money. Sincerely, I want to ensure your safety. Because for one, especially when I know you, I'm familiar with you now, nothing happening to the bro. Not while I'm here. If I don't go up, I'm gonna send somebody that might as well be me. That's how I get down. If the person that come up to you, bro, they might as well be me because they're gonna be, that thorough.
Yes, sir.
They're gonna protect you just as if it was me. Peace to my brother, P. Norfolk. How you doing, good brother? Salute to you.
Peace and power, good brother. Salute. Salute to you. Salute, Dre Cobbs, and salute to everybody in the chat, man. Much love and respect. Yeah, excellent presentation, brother. Man, the way you put this together was nice. It's unfortunate that we had to lose brothers like PNB Rock and Takeoff to be sacrificed to help promote this check-in thing. And I'm totally with y'all, man, 100% on y'all stance on this, man. I think it's bullshit, and it's just another way to gate guard our own. I'm seeing the same thing happen on the YouTube streets today. So excellent presentation, brother. Salute.
Indeed, brother. But somebody have to be the gatekeepers on a positive level, meaning keep the culture and the genre of music consistent with what it was intended. What I see in our community is what hip hop intended. Everybody that goes over to Bring Your Own Bars, when they spit in pure hip hop lyrics. The brothers are lyrical, even though it's not a beat behind it. It's lyrics, pure hip hop. But I don't even recognize hip hop today.
That's a fact, bro.
I don't even recognize it. Cats get into it. You got a few cats that want to do authentic hip hop, but the record label set out to destroy the genre. When I didn't watch the BET Awards. I saw clips of it on YouTube because I refused to watch it because The commercial made me not want to watch it. But all of the celebration, the 50-year celebration of hip hop, every last one was whack. And it's a damn shame. It's 50-year anniversary of hip hop, and nobody could put a good show together celebrating the damn history of hip hop. Nobody. Every display, every show that I seen was whack. You had Scarface without Willie D and the other brother performing Mind Playing Tricks on. You had Sugar Hill Gang without the original members, had 5-6 people on the stage. You had Public Enemy with just Flavor Flav, Chuck D, no Terminator X, no S1Ws. Whack. Don't want to see that. I don't want to see PE without Griff or in the S1Ws and the rest of the brothers. Don't want to see none of the members of an original group without the others. What does Snoop Dogg say? It's like Harold Melvin without the blue notes. Don't want to see that shit.
Big facts.
Don't want to see it. If you can't invite all of them, why would you have them at the show? We need somebody to put a good show together celebrating the history of hip hop. But I understand one is coming on the actual day that hip hop started on Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx next month. KRS-One is giving that. So I want to see how that turned out. Chris is doing that one. He wants people to come out to that ground. It's gonna be like it was back in the day when it was before hip hop was on record. So that should be interesting. But we need somebody to gatekeep this music to keep it what it's intended. I don't, try to put a limit on nobody's artistry, but I'm for certain that if we took in good work and they have real hip hoppers in there, that work would be respected and put out. But I know for a fact that brothers in real pure hip hop and they get turned down because remember back in the days when originality was the order of the day when it came to hip hop?
Yes, sir. Yeah, hell yeah.
Now they want everybody to sound the same. You got to sound like this. You got to sound like this. You got to sound like this. That's not hip hop. I don't expect Melly Mel to do LL Cool J or Kumo D. I expect them to do who they are. I don't expect Rakim to do Heavy D. I don't expect that. Originality is what hip hop was in the golden era. But now it all sounds the same to me, except in the community. You can distinguish the artists in our community. And it's a damn shame. Our little community is displaying the true artistry of hip hop. But everybody else, everything I hear on the record besides like Old School at Noon, everything else is whack. I can't listen to that shit. I can't listen to it. That shit disturbs my spirit.
I'm with you on that, good brother. I think we got a lot of dope artists in the community. We just have to, change our way of thinking so we can eventually change ourselves, so we can change the narrative, show more support to the artists who are showing pure talent and creativity, man. I think we'll be able to make some things happen, man, make some changes.
I agree. And those are changes that are relevant, because as far as I'm concerned, it's been taken over, it's been infiltrated in many ways, over-sexualized, and you got women talking about, they sound harder than some of the dudes. Come on, stop. They gonna pull the strap. They gonna do this. They gonna do that. it's a young sister. She's hot. I don't think she's 20 years old. She was on one of those reality shows, Fly J. She's a youngster. She's an athlete. I think she's in college now. But if you listen to her, I'm gonna play some of her stuff one day. I think her father was murdered when she was either before she was born or when she was little. All I know is her father was murdered, and the young sister, she spit fire, bro. Real mature, like a young lady, and she's smart. A lot of these artists, I call them artists with quotes, they're in it for the bag. That's why you can have that. What's that cat name? The one who said the older artists are whack because of the money they didn't make. I forgot his name. Academics. Him. That bullshit. He said that the golden era was whack because they're dusty and all this other foolishness. He called them dusty. The deals wasn't like there is now. And not only that, a lot is done to get a deal as opposed to what was done back when other artists was trying to get a deal. There wasn't performing 6 acts to get a deal back then, like a lot of these artists do. Now the like I said, I mentioned the book, Dancing with the Devil, how Puff burnt the bad boys of hip hop. Not only the bad boys of hip hop, the females on his label also. He burnt them too. Who's the most successful artist on Bad Boys? I'm asking the brother Dre Cobbs and Key Norfolk.
Have to be Total and Biggie.
I would say either Mace or himself, Buffy.
The second one is the correct answer, brother. They sold a lot of records, but they didn't get none of that money. Selling records doesn't mean that you're getting paid. The book is called How Puff Burnt the Bad Boys of Hip Hop. He burnt them. Look how Craig Mack died. Look how Black Rob died. What record the year Whoa came out was bigger than that record? What record was bigger than that? The Black Rob joint.
Well, what year I forgot when that came out.
I know it was in the mid '90s, but I could tell you was nothing bigger than that record the year it came out.
That's right.
That record was huge when it came out.
Worldwide.
Flavor in Your Ear. What was bigger than that, bro? As a single, what was bigger than that? He burnt those brothers and he burnt those sisters. Faith had, enough brilliance to get away from his ass. Where's 112? Where are they? They sold a lot of records. Total. Girl sold millions of records. Millions. I guarantee you.
He had Carl Thomas too, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Sure did. I forgot about that. He had Carl Thomas too. He was smart enough to get away from him. How could you have a group like New Edition and don't know what to do with them? At the time, I didn't know. I thought he was handling good business. But when I found out New Edition signed the Bad Boys, I was like, Bob, it's about to be on with the production. But he didn't know what to do with those brothers, those talented brothers who could have been further out of here. But he didn't know what to do with them because of his business practices. Now, if he had tried to send me across a bridge to go get him some cheesecake, walking across a bridge to go to Junior's to get him some cheesecake, I'd have gave it to him. I'd have mushed it right in his face. I'd have made sure it was cherry cheesecake. Now, that's one person who is a detriment to our people. That P. Diddy is a detriment to our people. What he do to people and what he has done to people. He learned from the textbooks of his mentor, Clive Davis. He learned from him, and he does everything that this man did to him, to other people. It's not the glamour and glitz. He'll decorate you and make people seem like you're being taken care of. He's not gonna take care of you. He never took care of you. I've been around on people. Never been to those parties, but I've been around as far as like shows. And most of them cats are no good. They gatekeep, they put the gate up to keep you from getting what's rightfully yours. That's the kind of gatekeeping they keep. To keep you from getting what's yours.
Look at what he did to the locks.
You're right. I forgot that he had them too. He had the locks, but the locks, cornered him and made them give them their money. They got their money. See, this dude started with Uptown Records, Andre Harrell. He worked for Andre Harrell for a while. Mary J. Blige, Jodeci, Heavy D, Christopher Williams, to name a few. But he was taking credit for stuff. He was getting too big for his britches, and he was trying to be the boss, and he wasn't, so Andre Harrell fired him. He went to Clive Davis of Arista Records. Clive Davis gave him the money. Clive Davis of Arista Records gave Puff the money to start Bad Boys. That's where he got the money from. But he exploited a lot of artists. And your answer, Brother Dre Cobbs, is Puffy is the most successful person ever on his label. Nobody made significant money. They may have sold a lot of records, but nobody made money according to what they sold. Because he made those brothers and those sisters think that he was going to take. Oh, Diddy name is Love now, huh? My wife said Diddy name is Love now. Wow, Love.
Yeah, that's a good one for him.
Yeah. His name, he should be P. Diddy. He just should put the P in the EE, you know what I'm saying, in the Diddy. It's a nasty business. I'm going to get back to this video. Griff's going to drop those gems about, it's bigger than hip hop, beyond beats and rhymes.
And use it to our best advantage. What do I mean by that? We could
Again, brothers, if you want to tap in, just tell me to stop.
celebrate all of the engineers and authors. We could celebrate all of the people that laid out their life to see that we made it to 2011. Are you following me? So if we was to pour a libation, right, by a show of hands, who do you think we should mention in these 28 days that we're given? We already mentioned and celebrate the life of Malcolm X, right, with the exhibit. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Muhammad Ali. Who else do we have on the table? Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey, who gave us, where's my pen, the red, the black, and the green. And in asking young people, what is the significance of the red, black, and green? You see, we have to know this verbatim. So when we meet students of other different nationalities and ethnic groups, we can have that conversation in the hallways and let them know that Marcus Mosiah Garvey, with the UNIA, gave us that flag as a liberation flag for our people. And the red symbolizes the blood that was spilled. The black is for the people, and the green is for the land, the motherland. All right. Now, mind you, coming right after him was the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who said that the earth is our home. We just use Africa as our throne. Are you following me? So this is a basic conversation that we should be having. But I'm sure that if you stop anyone that was of Irish descent in the hallway, they'd give you a rundown in the history of not only their flag, but their country and the history. Are you following me? The same with Jews and Italians and Mexicans and everyone else. Are you following me? All right, we're no different. We have to do this. All right? Are you following me? All right, it's cool. Now, pardon me? Right, I was about to get to that. So we could talk about Fred Hampton. We could talk about the Black Panther Party. We can talk about all of the conscious era of hip hop that got us to this point. So just as a small exercise, who do you know that you could mention to someone of a different race that you could have a conversation in the hallway with them to let them know about Black History Month? By a show of hands, who would you mention? Yes, sir. Why Nat Turner? Oh, okay. Who else? Yes, ma'am. Pardon me? Rosa Parks. And why Rosa Parks? Stood up for her rights. Who else? Somebody else. Come on. I need one more person to round it off just to balance it out. Yes, ma'am. Huey Newton. Why Huey Newton? Okay, let's give them a round of applause. What I'm going to attempt to do today is give you Professor Griff's perspective from the inside out in dealing with how I approach culture, history, especially Black history, how I'm approaching the subculture called hip hop, and I'm giving it to you from an insider's perspective, meaning that I didn't read this on a bumper sticker. All right, and I didn't read this on someone's t-shirt as I was passing by. All right, so when you kind of live these things, I'm kind of giving it to you from an insider's perspective to let you know, in most cases, what goes on behind the scenes, not only in entertainment and in popular culture, but in hip hop as I know it. This is why I entitled, the subtitle is "It's Bigger Than Hip Hop. It's Beyond Beats and Rhymes." Now, hip hop. You can remember this when you take notes. Hip hop is higher infinite power healing our people. All right? Higher infinite power healing our people. Why? Because we always use music in rituals. Always use music in festivals because we thought and think today, still today, that music has a healing power to it. This is why when you find people that operate in dealing with alternative medicines, aromatherapy, music serves as methods of healing. It aligns the chakras, which are the energy centers. It brings them in line and connects them with your aura. We'll deal with some basic metaphysics a little bit later on, but Hip hop is high infinite power healing our people. What we're about to go over and talk about is some basic things that I feel from my perspective, it's beyond beats and rhymes. I'm going to skip over a lot of the slides simply because I want to get right to the point and we don't have a lot of time. Back in the day when I was growing up, when we had the experience of going to the store, when we heard that a new album came out, we had the experience of going to the store and buying it. Once we bought it, we resonated with it because we looked at the covers. We read the credits. Are you following me? And this became part of our knowledge and our experience with a new record coming out, especially if it was our favorite artist. We wanted to know everything about the artist. In today's fast-paced world that a lot of you live in with iPads and
hey, yo, Dre, can you imagine if these cats that tell people to check in would have told like a Public Enemy, a PRT, that they have to check in when they come to their city? Imagine what would happen? What would be the response?
Nah, boy, what?
Just imagine.
It'll get critical for them.
Telling Chuck D and Griff and them they got to check in. Poor Righteous Teachers, KRS-One, and Brand Nubians, that they got to check in when they come to the city.
Yeah,
I agree, brother.
and whatever else, with supersized malls and supersized and everything else. Are you following me? We rarely take time and spend time reading and becoming part of not only being a fan, which is the root word to fantastic, which is the root word to fantasy. And this is exactly what they want you to do. They want you to buy in to the fantasy. So from a young age, you become a perpetual consumer of what you think is music based on a tradition and a culture. But today, I beg to differ. And we have to understand that hip hop and rap are two different things. All right? Hip hop is something that you are, rap is something that you do. I'm gonna let you marinate on that for a minute. Because I hear a lot of people talking about rap and they blame hip hop. If we had an umbrella and the umbrella served as hip hop culture, up under the umbrella of hip hop culture, you have MCing, rapping, breaking, DJing, and graph writing, graffiti. Rapping and MCing is only one aspect of it. Then to synthesize that, we have the knowledge of self, which brings it all together to understand the four fundamental elements of hip hop. The four fundamental elements of hip hop are tied into the four fundamental elements of the universe: earth, air, fire, and water. So there's a spiritual component to hip hop that we always leave out. We hear a song like Laffy Taffy and listen to it and say, I don't like hip hop. And then we end up leaving out three of the other elements and we fall short. Are you following me? Okay, let's understand that. So when we purchased the album, you know, we digest and studied the cover. This is my album that just came out 2 weeks ago. It's entitled The God Damage. So we studied the albums, and in most cases, we tacked them on our walls. I don't know if you used to do that. They became part of what we were about. They spoke for us. Are you following me? Like back in the day when hip hop first came on the scene, and we was carrying those heavy boxes around with them heavy, expensive D-size batteries. I don't know if y'all remember that. But anyway, when we put it down and we stood in our B-boy stage, whatever song was on represented us. Are you following me? So hip hop served as a voice of the voiceless. And that's what it meant to us. So when I managed to put together my book, Analytics, 20 years of conversations,
talk about one of these
interviews with Public
Brother
Enemy's
Dre,
List of
Brother
Information,
Key.
Professor Griff. Analytics basically simply means critical thought, critical thinking. And that's what I invited people to do. Let's not look at hip hop as just one aspect, meaning MCing and entertainment. It's a deeper component to hip hop on the spiritual realm that we keep leaving out, and we missed the boat. All right? The book that I was putting together is entitled The Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop. Inside of this book, was this particular chapter entitled The Metaphysical Goddessry of the Soul of Hip Hop.
That's a good read. The Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop. I read that book so many times. If you don't have it, you should get it.
Which we're going to talk on some metaphysics in a minute. But what I had to do is take this particular chapter out because I deemed it very necessary to lend credence to the fact that we need to start loving, honoring, and respecting women, especially in popular culture. Are you following me? Especially in hip hop. What I decided to do, as Sister Ra teaches us, that we should put the woman back on the throne in hip hop so we can balance it out. And I think this is what's going on. There's too much testosterone running wild in hip hop, and all we're hearing is music and perspectives that are very linear, coming from a male point of view. Are you following me? Then any time that we hear something coming from a woman's point of view, it's on a low vibration. Are you following me? It's from the Nicki Minaj's and these kind of characters. Now, I know you're probably a Nicki Minaj fan, but let me just give you my take on it. I watched the behind the scenes MTV thing that they did on Nicki Minaj. And I sat there in shock to know that she said she would only deal with women. And the fact that she mentioned that there's a demonic entity that lives inside of her. How many people have heard this? No one, just me. I guess I'm the only one that heard this. Okay. Nicki Minaj says there's a demonic entity that lives inside of her, and she gave it a name. She says it's a male entity that's very violent and uncontrollable. She calls him Roman. I called it demonic possession. Are you following me? And this is what I mentioned several years ago when I talked about Beyonce oftentimes morphing herself into this demonic character called Sasha Fierce. Have you ever heard of this character? Okay. Well, by her own admission, she says this character takes over. All right. And in studying the voodoo, in studying ancient mystic practices, we know what that is. That's demonic possession. All right. So let's push forward. So I had to talk about the metaphysical goddessry of the soul of hip hop to add the spiritual component back to hip hop so we can be well-rounded. All right. So when I move later on into the psychological covert war on hip hop, we would understand. So I have to talk about destroying hip hop's appetite for self-destruction. I have to talk about the Illuminati's takeover of hip hop. Now let's just not get really too moved by the term Illuminati. I hear that being thrown around in the music industry and on YouTube. The Illuminati simply means holders of the light. All right? The light bearers. Listen, I think I need to say this from the outstart. You cannot join the Illuminati. Someone came up to me at the grocery store and said their homeboy was about to join the Illuminati. Stop that. The Illuminati is a secret society with subsidiaries that go by a lot of different names. And the only reason why I'm going into this, because I have to use this as a backdrop, because I know it's on a few people's minds in the audience. All right, we're throwing this term around and we acting like it's a glee club or the Boy Scouts, which is not the case. It's an ultra secret society. All right, started back in the 1800s, and you have to understand that you're just not gonna walk up in there and say, "Here I am." It doesn't work that way. You don't choose them; they choose you. And if by chance,
which is why I said that they would try to influence us through who they think influence us. They'll pick an artist or someone who got a lot of influence in our community, like a Jay-Z, and influence him and get us through him. I just named Jay-Z, but they do it through many people. Anybody they think influence us, they'll try to influence us through that person. That's why back, I think 2004, every election year, they'll get people like Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, Diddy, and others telling us we gotta vote. go through that ritual and go out and vote because they think that these people can get us to do that. But that gig is up. Entertainers cannot tell us to do nothing because we know they have been bought and paid for. So they can try another one with that. Entertainers cannot get us today because we know what they're about. First, they think they have risen above the condition of us. They don't care nothing about us. And we know they're being paid to tell, come on, they had Juvenile saying, vax that thing up. Please, we know he didn't voluntarily to come to say that.
You're chosen to be a part of one of the subsidiaries of the or the subgroups of the Illuminati. Good luck. Are you following me? So we have to understand this thing and put it in its proper perspective. Someone's coming out with an Illuminati mixtape. What kind of madness is that? Illuminati clothing line and this kind of madness. So we need to keep things in its proper perspective. What I'm attempting to do today is kind of demystify it. All right, so we can get a better understanding of what this is and what's going on inside of the music and popular culture today. Simply put, we need our history and our herstory told by us to us. All right? If we're going to tell the history of black people's sojourn, not only in America, but coming 9,000 miles in the holds of ships, all right, being brought to America through the Caribbean islands up into America and dehumanized, robbed of a name, language, culture, God, and religion. That story, and even the story of what we went through on the African continent and the glorious history of black people from pre-dynastic Kemet, which you call Egypt, all through the dynasties, right on up to the time that we was colonized and enslaved and put in the holds of ships and brought to America. That story needs to be told to us by us. Are you following me? And there's nothing wrong with other people of other complexions coming to tell the story, but let's just get the facts correct. Are you following me? And we definitely have to check it, simply because every time I come to a college campus or have a discussion with young people and I ask them to talk to me about black history, we always start with slavery, as though we've done nothing else. All right, so let's dispel that and stop telling me that slaves were brought over from Africa. That is not correct. Proud black men and women who were kings and queens and gods and goddesses were put in the holds of ship and brought to America and made slaves. Are you following me? So let's get it correct. All right. Now, Elijah Muhammad said it would be very difficult to free the minds of our people using this bastard language called English. And I'm not being vulgar or foul. All right. So even speaking to you right now, I have to speak and use a language that's alien to the very fiber of who and what we are. Are you following me? Let's push forward. We're going to skip over a lot of things that we don't need to go over because they're kind of elementary, all right? Some things that you should kind of know already. We need to talk about the bridges that carried us over. What you're seeing in Khalid El-Hakim's collection and his exhibit in the next room is part of what I call the bridges that got us over. Now listen.
Brother Dre, Brother Key, can you give me an analogy of why we created hip hop music? What was the reason why we created hip hop music? Any one of you can take it, or both of you can take it.
Yo, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Personally, I think we created it, man. I want to say just to tell our side of the story, what was going on, as far as hip hop go. But I feel like as far as rapping and doing that type of music, I feel like we've been doing that since forever. You know what I'm saying? And then it just morphed into that by what was going on at the time.
Perfect.
Oh yeah. I was talking, man. I was muted, but the brother kind of summed it up. But also, you know, just another way to express ourselves, another form of art, so that we can express ourselves, document the culture. But I do feel it was infiltrated, you know, as among other things. Uh, Definitely hijacked from the people. So, you know, I kind of feel like we're not on the same course, and we can blatantly see that, and especially from, you know, this lecture that Professor Griff is giving. I just wish we would have listened to him, man, a lot sooner than now. It's a shame that this 30 years ago, and it's still prevalent today.
Yeah, big fact. Yeah, brothers, both of your answers was absolutely perfect. But I'm gonna add on. You know how innovative our people are. You know what Tupac said about his mother. Mother made miracles every Thanksgiving. That's us. That's our people. We can make a whole lot out of nothing. They took the music program out of our schools, you know, and back in the Bronx, back in the 70s, the Bronx looked like a war zone, like somebody dropped a bomb on the Bronx. I'm going to do a program dealing with the Bronx back then. And you know how our people do. We get together, we party, and we had the DJs from each borough, even New Jersey, all the way over here. We were doing it in the parks before it was on record. We used to have the block parties start in the afternoon all the way into the wee hours of night. DJ spinning. And people used to line up just to get the mic. But hip hop was created by us, not the rap part, the hip hop music, as far as like the turntablism, taking the break beat, you know, with the merry-go-round, or we'll call the, you know, we call it the merry-go-round. That's what it's really called, the merry-go-round. You know, going from turntable to turntable, playing the break beat, or what they call the get down. The breakdown of the beat was called the get down. And they'll play it continuous while the rapper rap on it. That's innovative because they took our music programs out of the schools. And because they took our music programs out of the school, a genre of music was created that people thought was, like KRS once said, a passing hope or phase with a rope, a fad that was going to die out. But now you hardly hear any genre of music without hip hop's influence in it. I don't care what genre of music you listen to, you have all types of artists. They'll call a hip hop artist. Let's do a song. Willie Nelson did a song with Snoop. That's how deep it goes. Ice Cube did a song with some Mexican dudes. Every genre of music have hip hop influences in it today. All started because they took our music programs out of the schools. And Sylvia Robinson saw something in it. And she put the Sugar Hill Gang together. She put them together. She actually produced the song Rapper's Delight. That part with the drums, that comes from Here Comes That Sound again and again and again and again. That's where that comes from. She put that together. Then she brought in Chic, Good Times. She mixed the song down. Back, she didn't do this on turntablism. Grandmaster Flash got credit for records he didn't even do. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm saying it boldly because it wasn't no If you heard turntables on a record, it was after the record was done, he came in through the cuts in live. It wasn't no Grandmaster flashing on turntables, spinning on records. No, it was the Sugar Hill Gang band that played the music. It was mixed down. Rappers came in, laid down the lyrics. That's how it was done. Sampling didn't start until later, mid-'80s. As a matter of fact, the first person who got sued for a sample clearance was Biz Markie. And the first person who really started sampling, Marley Marl. That's who started the sampling. Before then, even with Run DMC, that was played, synthesized, live guitar. Jam Master Jay came in, threw the cuts in. That's how it was done. Now, you have everything's probably synthesized. Studios. Back then was a band. Edward Fletcher, who they called Duke Booty, he was one of the band members. He was from Elizabeth, New Jersey. He wrote the message, the whole entire song except Melvin Mills' part, A Child is Born with No State of Mind. He didn't write that part, but he wrote the rest of that song. He wrote that song. He wrote Survival. He wrote New York, New York. He played music on that song. As a matter of fact, he didn't only write the song, he spit on the song. When you see Raheem singing that song on the video, he's lip syncing. And with Fletcher even lip synced on that. I mean, he actually spit on the record. He was an older guy, so he didn't have the look. So Sylvia Robson had him lay down the lyrics. But when you see Raheem spitting the lyrics, he's lip syncing. See, hip hop is not, without ghostwriters. From its inception, it had a ghostwriter. The first record in hip hop that was successful had a ghostwriter. Grandmaster Caz wrote all of Big Bang Hank rhymes, gave him the rhyme book. So the first record had a ghostwriter. So ghostwriting is not new. It's not new. It's just the, hip hop trivia, history, a little history.
Listen, we don't necessarily have to agree with the bridge. How many of you have ever driven out of state and you had to cross some bridges in order to get to the next state or to the next town? Did you?
I want to say to your point with the music not being in the school. Like for me personally, hip hop made me want to play an instrument. You know what I'm saying? I played the saxophone and the trumpet. Listening to Guru Jazz Montage and Eric B. and Rakim, listen to them instruments and you hear that saxophone, that made me want to play it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I'm a championship 2012 national champion drum coach. Marching. I'm a national champion coach, 2012. So I'm familiar with musical instruments, brother. And you have to have a good ear in order for you to, to do it musically, hip hop musically, beyond the beats and rhymes. Like you said, hip hop inspired you to play musical instruments. It's because you were listening. You probably have the ability to block out every other instrument and listen to one, aren't you?
That's a fact. That's a whole fact, bro.
Because I could block out any instrument, all the other instruments, and listen to that one. And then I can switch up, block the one I was just listening to, and listen to another instrument. A person like that can mix a song down real good because they have the ability to break the instruments down, put them where they belong. We only have like a minute or so of this video left. Then we can finish tapping in. Anything the brothers
Did you get to the other side and turn around and
want to add on?
curse the bridge out? No. These are bridges that got us across. These are doorways that allowed us passageway to the next realm. So even when we talk about Malcolm X, you may not agree with everything Malcolm was about. No one's asking you to. But as black people, is that not a period in time in the history that we need to hold on to, know and understand? Can we not use that as a bridge or a doorway that got us through? Can we? Can we use what Harriet Tubman taught us? When she was interviewed, she was asked, how many slaves did she free? She said she's freed thousands, but she probably would have freed thousands more if they only knew they were slaves. But nonetheless, is it a bridge that got us across? Yes, it is. I don't agree with everything that go down in the black church. But the black church served as a beacon light to us, right or wrong. And it's a bridge that got us over troubled water. Even when I'm sitting across from my opponent and playing chess or checkers, I'm not angry at the dude. I'm playing basketball, I'm bringing it down court. I'm not angry at my opponent. I know I got to get past them, right or wrong. Okay, y'all are very...
That's about the end of that video. Good brothers. Yeah, hip hop is a genre of music that's near and dear to me. And I don't like, besides what I hear again in our community, I don't like where it's going. I think it's been hijacked and taken in a very detriment direction, self-destructive direction, especially when hip hop is made synonymous to violence, crime, going to jail. They make going to jail cool. If you haven't been to jail, you're not the man. When out here, you gotta do more to survive here, outside of jail. You gotta do more to survive outside of jail, because you gotta earn your keep out here. You gotta make something happen out here. If they got you locked down 23 hours a day and let you out for 1 hour, and they feeding you nasty ass food, you're sleeping on the itchy ass mattress with no pillow, doing push-ups all day. As rough as that sound, it's not, you don't have any worries about your provisions. I'll tell you that much. Why? Because you got somewhere to live. You don't got to pay no rent, even though it's a 6 by damn 6. But you got somewhere to live, even though it's a piece of crap. But it's harder outside. And if you can survive out here, you're the man. You're not the man in there.
Big fact.
You're the man out
Big
here.
fact. Nothing cool about being in jail, you know, especially if you got children. You know, I don't know what kind of grown man can not feel just like a piece of shit, you know, like, damn, my lady out there, my kids out there, you know, to go to jail to try to keep up this persona, man. You know, I did that bid, I was hard and shit, you know, ain't nothing cool about jail, man. And, you know, we definitely got to take that narrative out of the culture.
Indeed.
You know, before it damages us any further. You know, these kids today, they don't care about going to jail or harming somebody, man. And like I said, man, we just got to be able to change the narrative. You know what I mean?
You know, why, you know, you could be a failure and go to jail, brother. Why would you be successful with millions of dollars and have any type of crime on your mind that would put you in jail? You have successful millionaires going to jail because they do something stupid and go to jail. Property, cars, bank account. and all you can think about doing is a crime, you can do that.
I'm with you on that.
You can do that as a failure. You go to jail as a failure. You don't need to be successful to go to jail.
It's funny you said that because when somebody at the bottom starting off, they got all these ideas, man, and it'll lightweight make you think they want to change the world, and then they get all this money and just shit just go bad. That was a very nice point you made right there, brother.
And then you have to learn how to push people away from you. You gotta learn how to do that. You know, if I had tens of millions of dollars, my wife would just have more. That's all. She'd just have more. She have more than we have now. That's all. Certain cats, I will feel obligated to take care of because I love them. Family members and stuff like that. But salute to the brother Brown's Flat Power God. Salute to the brother Dominique. Thanks for coming in. P. Moses, Anthony Lowe, the realist McCoy. Salute for coming in. Thank you for coming in. Truth Master Dre. Fulcrum Integrity Lighthouse of Honesty. Thank you. The wife. Thanks for coming through. Yeah, brothers.
Hey, salute. Hey, salute. I'm about to get up out of here, man. I'm about to walk in the crib.
Yes, sir. Brother, I appreciate
chill on out, bro.
I appreciate you coming through, brother, and your contribution to the build, brother. You know, I salute you for that, brother.
Yes, sir, man. Peace to you, brother, and peace to you, Key.
Peace and power, brother.
Peace and power, brother. Hey, appreciate you for coming through. And big bro, you know, as always, man, I appreciate you for allowing me, man. I hate to be so short. You know, I'm kind of in travel mode, but I just wanted to make sure I could tap in with you and be a part of this presentation, man. Definitely with this hip hop thing. So salutes to the build. I appreciate you.
I know, you know, I know you about the hip hop, brother. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's the genre music that you're in, and that's, I know that's near and dear to you. And when it comes to the gatekeeping and the culture, I knew it's something that you're passionate about. So, you know, we are alike minds, brother. We're alike minds when it comes to that, brother. You know that. And
Yes,
this,
sir.
we have to have not the negative gatekeepers. We should, you know, the protectors of the genre. We got to protect the genre. And really, in all actuality, we got to protect the artists because the artists are being murdered. Can you imagine a record company put a insurance policy on a rapper, and then a rapper get killed, and then the record company get the royalties?
That was the first red flag.
You know what I'm saying? From the rapper? That's crazy.
Now, if there would have been a policy in place, like an insurance policy as far as a retirement plan for artists, that would have been one thing. But to actually have an insurance policy to where the rapper has nothing to do with this insurance policy, that should have been a first red flag, man. Seriously.
And that's one of the problems they had with Suge Knight, Irv Gotti, Master P, Jay Prince. They had a problem with that because one of the first persons I heard say that there should be a retirement plan for hip hop artists was Suge Knight. They should have pensions because why? They're paying taxes and they're contributing to the United States. Their money is flowing through this economy. And they pay a lot of taxes to the point that if they don't pay, their taxes can sometimes come up in the tens of thousands to the millions. So they should have a pension as an artist. They don't want to talk about that, but they'll put an insurance policy and in case you die policy out on the artist. But they don't want to assure the artist going to be taken care of when they can't perform anymore. A lot of these artists, you know, and another thing, bro, they have to be supported. And you can't treat a hip hop artist like an athlete. You know, their knees are bad or some shit, saying that they're whack because they're older. They turned hip hop into a young man's sport. Like their knees get bad and they can't do it no more. But, you know, I don't see it like that. If I have an artist that resonate with me, like PE could drop something, I'm gonna get it. Why? Because of the knowledge they're gonna put in it. Same with, you know, Poor Righteous Teachers, same with, you know, Brand Nubians, any of those gods. I'm gonna get the album. Because I know, because they resonate with me as artists. So I'll get theirs. And anybody else I'll support. I was excited when I found that Q-Tip was going to do LL Cool J's whole album. I was excited about that because he's a good producer. I said, Q-Tip doing LL, that's going to be tight. And then I heard Dr. Dre doing LL. I was like, damn, that's going to be crazy. I don't know what came of it, but I was excited when I heard it. Looked forward to it.
When I hear him talking like that, man, I know automatically, you know, there's an agenda behind it. You know, all these different, you know, agendas are targeting the children, you know, because they're trying to make that the new norm, whether it's, you know, the way the culture going as far as with the drill music, whether it's the way they dressing now, you know, the feminist stuff, or whether it's the degrading of the woman, no matter what it is, you know, they're promoting this to the children, so they adopt this ideology. Then once they adopt it, you know, it becomes the majority now. And the people who was in the fight from the beginning are outnumbered because they jumped over your head and went to the children. Now they think this cool. So, you know, we just gotta start paying attention to these type of things, man.
Very, very good observation, brother. Very good observation. I appreciate that. And yeah, and that's the order of the day, brother. That's how they doing it. That's exactly how they're doing it. The soft targets, you know. That's what they targeting, the soft targets. Jump, you know, because they know our children are impressionable. They know they are. And again, if you get an artist that influence children, you influence the children through the artist. Now, how are you going to have somebody else that's not in your culture dictate what's hot in your culture? We're supposed to dictate what's hot in our culture. It's our culture. But we let others tell it, no, this is hot today. No, it's not. We're about to tell you what's hot in our culture. But we allow others to tell us what's hot in our culture. Yeah, but brother, I agree with you. We gotta be on top of it. And we have to take our culture in a direction we want it to go in. Right now it's detrimental. All this drill and trill and all this other crap that's, you know, they're promoting. And serve it to our detriment. You know, if you're not disrespecting somebody, if you're not talking about killing somebody, your song don't get played. They actually let it go now. Back in the day, bro, they used to bleep out certain words. Now they let everything go, bro. You can say it all on the radio, on TV. Regular TV, regular radio, they just let it play. They don't bleep nothing out. That's how low down it's become, because they want to see how low down we could be, taking us all the way down, scraping rock bottom of the garbage.
That's right.
And like you said, they're using our children because our children see what others have. They want to have it, so they'll do what it takes to get it, even if it's making them soulless and serve to their own detriment.
It's a shame they have to degrade themselves. It's stapled in their mind that they got to degrade themselves in order to be placed on the level with the next person, man. So they're accepting to this degrading behavior, man. That's the sad part about it. It's almost like they can't wait for their chance. You hear the guys saying, "I can't wait till they ask me if I want to sell out. I'm gonna be first in line." That's the type of mind frame they got now.
Just to display their talent, they would do that. Your talent should be if you're talented, you're a skillful MC or you're a skillful singer, musician, that's all should count. That you're a skillful musician, artist, whatever. It's not even narrowed down to music, bro. It's like that in every form of entertainment now. Gymnast. They had a man who went to jail because he was doing that the same thing they do in music to gymnasts. Tennis players, baseball players, even boxers are being done the same way. Entertainment is all under one umbrella now, because if you look at the Super Bowl, every form of entertainment is halftime of a sports event. Every form of entertainment is exploited, not just music. So whatever form of entertainment we see our babies in or our people in, we have to protect it. If I can throw a down football 50 yards, 100 yards, and put it in the hands of a running back, that's all I should be able to do. Not all that other shit. That's all I should be able to do if that's my talent. Not all that other crap. If I can sing, I can play a keyboard, I can play a clarinet or a trumpet or horn. If I'm good enough to be on a record, that's all I should have to do. All the rest of that stuff I shouldn't have to do.
Facts. It's like you gotta, do extra, to play your part. And this become the norm. We have to recognize these type of things, man, because if we don't recognize these type of things, then we're gonna continue to be a victim. That's being victimized. Whenever you have to show yourself more approved than the other participants, that should be a sign. Wait a minute, we're not getting a fair deal here, but we continue to accept not getting a fair deal.
Exactly, and not only that, brother, you're being exploited. That's the thing, you're being exploited.
Big facts.
Which is crazy. Peace, salute to the Chief Dark Bull Hughes. Thanks for coming through, family. Well, brother Key, if you don't have anything else you want to tap in about, I'm going to end this stream. I went for over 2 hours, and I appreciate all the family for coming through. And I hope this stream was enlightening and informative to you about the gatekeepers of hip hop and the exploiters of the artists and the ones who extort the artists. We gotta do better when it comes to that, because no brother or sister should have to check in because they're in your town, because they're performing. You saying they're coming to take from your city and not giving nothing. That's bullshit. That's a bullshit logic. That's a bullshit logic, because in a fair exchange, there's no robbery. There's no fair exchange. There's no robbery in a fair exchange. You paid your money to see the artist. You got a show. It's a fair exchange. So they're not taking nothing from nobody. Who came up with that bullshit ass logic is beyond me. Got to do better.
That's crazy, man. You know, and I look at that as, if you look at it, 9 times out of 10 is like, you know, someone who's a part of a gang who is a failed artist. You know, so once they fail as an artist, they'll use their strength in the streets with the gangs to extort the artists who are coming in. This is just another form of income for them. That's why they know where they're gonna be at. They know the ins and outs of the venues, and they know the whereabouts of the parties and all this type of stuff. So this title is so on point, but we have to understand that we begin to gatekeep ourselves. We speaking about gatekeepers. You know, even though there's gatekeepers in the executive seats and the high level, we end up gatekeeping ourselves on the lower level. It's because of jealousy, envy, and greed. And we got to start, we got to do better, man, if we're going to, you know, worry about the state of the people.
Exactly. We should be protecting our people, you know, because it's our people. For that reason alone, make sure our brother is okay when he comes to our city, not try to exploit him or her, our brother or our sister. Make sure they're okay because we hear that they're coming. No, we're going to make sure they have it. We're going to show them a good time because we want them to come back. Not exploit them to the fact that, you know, they're afraid for their life because they're in a city, because they got a hot record. Somebody hired them to come perform. So they got to give you some of their money that they earned. You know what kind of punk you are for that? You think you punking him, but you the punk. Because you won't get up off your ass and make your own damn money. You want somebody else's. But if you are a brother, you make that kind of money, or a sister, you make that kind of money, you are able to, I say arm yourself. Anybody run up on you trying to take what's yours, give them everything in it. Every last one of them. Good brother, I appreciate you for coming up. I appreciate that. And it's been a good one. Your contribution was you know, was integral, and it was I appreciate your contribution. Intricate.
Yes, sir. It's always a pleasure to build, man. You know, we can build and not destroy, man. You know, I appreciate you for having me on, man. I appreciate the stream and all. And salutes to everybody in the chat. You already know, bro. Till next time. Peace and power.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Peace and power, good brother. I want to thank the realist McCoy, Anthony Lowe, Big Dog Philly OG, Hurricane JW, Bronze Flat Power God, Dre Cobbs, the brother Key Norfolk, Sha One, Hurricane JW, my better half, my wife, Fulcrum Integrity, Lighthouse of Honesty, Truth Master Dre, P. Moses, Dominique, thanks for coming through. I appreciate it. This is The Enemy's Public. I am Bro.Nasir. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section. I'm going to do a stream in the future about the South Bronx. I will keep everybody updated when that stream will come. I'm going to do my research and get my footage and do my research about it. But I will be doing a stream on the South Bronx during the creation of hip hop. This is Bro.Nasir, and I am The Enemy's Public. Salute. Peace.
Yo, the enemy's public, I gotta keep my eyes open. Pay attention, stop walking around like you blindfolded. This not the World Cup, but Nasir be kicking knowledge. This is the type of information you can never learn in college. It's time to fight back, it's no more trying to play it cool. We got interviews, podcasts, and got the latest news. So sit back and relax, we about to get it started. Earth is a canvas, and guess who's the con artist? They brainwashing us, the system corrupted. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. I said you are now rocking with the enemy's public. Hey.